everyone, welcome back to another theatre vlog. Tonight I'm going to see Young Vic at the Fun Home. Tonight I'm going to see Fun Home at the Young Vic. I saw the first preview of Fun Home last week and I have an extra lot of tickets because Today had a pre-sale like last July. So I just purchased 2 lots of tickets just because I figured that it was going to sell quite well and I wanted to see it immediately. And then like a week later kind of process it and then obviously make a video about it. And I'm really glad I've done that because I feel like this is definitely a show that, because I was so new to it, like I didn't know much about it at all, that I really want to see it again and yeah, just kind of process it a bit more. It's very hot in London at the moment. We're going through a heat wave, so if I look like a sweaty mess at points then I do apologise, but we're just gonna have to deal with it. And I'm going to see Fun Home with my friend Josh tonight, so I'm really excited. This is gonna be our first theatre trip together, so that's quite nice, and hopefully he'll be happy to be in the vlog, which will be lovely. And yeah, let's go to the theatre. We've just had dinner. This is Josh.
Hi.
This is Josh's.
Hi viewers.
Oh, God, debut. Josh was a viewer of my channel, and that's how he knew me. So, and this is your Young Vic first
My
visit
Young
as
Vic
well.
debut. I feel like I need to look at the camera, not the
You need
screen.
to look here.
Look here.
Yeah. Stop looking at yourself.
Young Vic debut, which is exciting, and I've heard so many good things about the show on Broadway. I don't know the soundtrack or anything.
I was going to ask you, I was like, do you know any of it?
Ring of Keys, because I
same.
saw it on the Tonys. That's literally
That's all I knew as well.
kind of it.
I think it's a good thing to go into fresh.
Oh yeah, for sure. Someone's warned me that we're going to cry.
Yeah, I think we might.
Oh, you've seen it?
Yeah. I felt like, because the first time I was like, you know, just watching it, you know?
Yeah, sure.
Everything was new. I think this time I'm going to be like,
Gonna try and connect.
oh no, yeah, I think I might cry. I might not. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't really know what it's about. A lesbian.
Pretty much.
But apparently it's great.
You do know that it's was it 90 straight through? So
Oh, I didn't actually know that.
You need to go beforehand.
It's the recommendation of you, because you know now.
That's what I did last time. I was like, I'm gonna need to lose.
Babe, nothing could be worse than Follies.
Oh god, Follies for what, 2 hours 10?
2 hours 15, no interval, no time to pee.
That was a nightmare, to be honest.
Yeah, that was a struggle. It was
good.
a struggle in a war. And there was no toilets so anyone's were good.
Yeah, so we're gonna go in. I don't know where we're sat. We're gonna find. No, I'm gonna keep it all in. I'm gonna keep it all the hell out. They've moved the posters. This is another new thing. These posters were on the other wall before. Now they're here. I love the design. What do you think of the design?
Sorry, do I like the design?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know. It's quite simple but nice.
I think
like,
you'll get it once. It's very simple but very effective, I think. I really liked the Broadway.
Posters? They're not
Yeah,
from
I really
Broadway,
liked
right?
the Broadway artwork. This is very different. And I don't know where we're sat. I booked on the Today pre-sale last year. It's going to be band C tickets, but I don't know where. So we will find out. And hopefully Josh, you're so tall. Hopefully Josh will enjoy the show.
I will, I'm sure I will.
Yeah, hopefully. And we'll chat afterwards. Love a post box. So we just left Fun Home. Well, we didn't leave it, it finished, we came out. Right, quick question, because I'm interested. Like, it's quite weird to have musicals that are just one act, don't you think? Like, it's very rare. How do you feel?
It is, but I think
it works for this.
I mean, I haven't seen that. I've actually probably not. Yeah, like I said, it's rare. I've not seen many, but I quite enjoyed them because
it's nice to get out early.
Yeah, yeah. And I think musicals that are one act are usually that way for a reason. It's because they don't want to break something.
moments.
Yes, exactly. They don't want to break the momentum.
Yeah. Because interestingly, I can't remember where I was reading this, but apparently Fun Home or at the Public, where it started, I think, it had an interval.
Oh, didn't know.
And I feel like when I watched it today, it was quite apparent to me. I was like, right, that's where the interval was.
Where do you think it was?
It was, I can't remember right now off the top of my head, but there's a very clear moment. I was like, that's the best place that you could like break it. But no, I agree that I think it's just like, it's nice that it just carries on.
It's got a really nice like through narrative that I think, and the momentum, and as the momentum builds to like a climax, like it's quite obvious that if you broke that, all of that work that you've just, all the work that those actors have just done would almost literally be wasted, because you'd be having to like start again, if you know what I mean. Yeah, because the peak is very much the end. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
I really enjoyed that, and I don't really think about it with musicals because, as I say, they're mostly two-handers. That's the phrase, isn't it? Yeah.
No, two-handers. That's two people. Two acts.
Oh, is it? Is it not two-handed? A
two-hander would be a two-person.
Yeah. Oh, I've always thought that you could use two-hander weirdly because of like two big lots of applause. I'll Google it. I'll find out.
Leave comments.
Yeah. Gonna get Josh a YouTube channel. But yeah, no, I really like that. I really like that it's just straight through, and if it was two acts, I think they'd have to like put loads of fluff in, and it would ruin it.
It doesn't need it. It doesn't need it, and I think like the piece works. The piece absolutely works as a one act. It's like Come From Away. You couldn't. Do you know what I mean? Like obviously, I know that's pretty much sung through in the book. It's much smaller. Come From Away. But if you, where would you put the interval there?
Yeah, you couldn't. And that's very interesting as well, because this is really obvious. Obviously theatre is like human stories, but I feel like this and Come From Away are kind of similar in that they are so like core humanity in a sense. Do you get what I mean? And it's very interesting that they're kind of similar in that aspect, and then they're both straight through.
Both one act,
so excited to Come From Away.
Oh, so I saw it in Canada. I literally like texted her like when I was in Canada, like, here's the quote, I'm watching it again, and she was like, no.
You got a standing ticket, didn't you?
Yeah, like $20. Winner went to check it out.
So excited. What's your favourite bit of the show? That's what I want to know.
There's a number with the 3 kids, which I just wasn't expecting. It came from nowhere. Yeah, and it explains what Fun Home is. Like, I don't want to say it just in case you who see it, and you kind of go, what actually is a Fun Home? Yeah. And they kind of explain what it is, and it's a really good number that kind of took you to, like totally by surprise, because up to that point you were like, right, serious musical, I'm gonna have my serious face on, I'm watching this as like a real adult, and then suddenly like this really fun number comes from nowhere, and you kind of breaks it, and you're like, and actually I think that allowed you almost to then relax into the story totally, because then from there it starts to really drive. Yeah,
whereas if it was just serious from the get-go, you're a bit tense.
I think my favourite bit overall was the changing my major to
Joe.
And she's incredible. So I don't know who that is playing teenage Alison, but she's great. She's great.
They've got like,
I think those are the ones from the actual,
I would think so,
must be the ones from the actual thing, right?
Eleanor Kane.
Is that who's playing?
Yeah, that's who's playing middle Alison. Oh yeah.
Girl, where are you?
Medium Alison. Oh, she's in Assassins. I wonder which. Was that at the John Marlowe house? Or am I making that up? She's not done a huge amount, has she? This is like her kind of break. Big break.
It's not the most flattering photos of them, is it? It's as if they're quite mugshotty. I knew him. I'd seen him in...
Samuels. Oh my God, how do you say her name? Kaiser Hammerland. I think she's fantastic.
Yeah,
I think she's amazing.
Sure. Jenna Russell is just class.
She's Jenna Russell. She's amazing. It's really great to have Jenna Russell back in theatre as well. She's been in EastEnders for quite a while, hasn't she? So.
Sure, look, that dad, great.
Yeah.
Because actually, I think if you've never seen the show before, you think it's really about her. You think it's about Alison.
Yeah, and
but it's kind of not.
Yeah. It's her telling the story. It's her. Yes. It's about her dad.
Yeah, it's essentially about her dad. You can touch on that if you want. I don't want to give too much away. But as in, you can't. That was kind of almost what kind of took me by surprise a little bit, because you kind of, I think, you go with the perception of, if you know a little bit about the show, like, oh, it's about, you know, this woman discovering like herself and her sexuality and stuff like. But actually, it's kind of much more than that. So really enjoyed.
Yeah, and we had this team of kids. So we had Brooke Haynes as Small Alison, Charlie McLellan as Christian, and Ramsey Robertson as John. He was so funny in Come to the Fun Home. He literally steals it. Look at all these credits that they have already, and they're like cute. That's so cute.
His career's like 10 times better than mine. And he's like 5.
See? She was blonde.
Yeah.
Jenna Russell's hair has been dyed. Or it's a wig.
Or there's a wig change. Even that's her hair and she's now got a wig on, or they've changed the wig.
Maybe she's dyed it, I don't know.
It happens though, I think people don't really think that stuff kind of happens, but like in previews and stuff like that, things change, like...
Oh, and she's had a haircut.
It literally can be, a director could essentially be like, look, I don't think that works for the characters like that, let's change the wig, do you know what I mean? That's kind of common, I think.
I don't know if I said what my favourite moment is.
What's your favourite bit?
The thing that kind of sticks out to me is the like telephone wire song. I just think it's so
at the end.
Bit of a spoiler, maybe skip over it if you don't want to be spoiled. That transition from him talking to medium Alison and then it changing to older Alison, even though
it was still technically middle Alison.
Yeah,
I didn't miss that, did I? He was actually speaking to middle Alison.
Well, he was, and then he sort of changes and then speaks to the older Alison.
But older Alison
is being middle Alison.
Yes. Yeah. Because it's her reliving the moment.
Yeah. And I was like, oh. Right. I think that's like fascinating and
really, I love the direction. And actually, do you know what my favourite bit is? I can't say it because it will totally spoil it. There's a bit.
You'll know it when you see it.
Like, so you think, oh, lovely kind of simple set, simplistic, something changes, and literally like, Rukaya saw my face. I was like...
You physically like moved.
Only because I thought it was just not what I was expecting.
You're so, like, first preview, Olivia and I were like...
You're like, where the f*** are they? Sorry.
I'll bleep out.
I was like, where were they hiding that?
Yeah.
I don't say anything, but like, I was like, where were they hiding that?
When you see it.
That was great.
It's amazing. Yeah, that telephone wire song. Because especially because you know what's going to happen. Like, that's another interesting, like, from the start of the show, you know how it's going to end.
That's so true. You know.
And then in that number, you're like, oh, this is the number. Like, oh god, yeah.
Thank you very much, Rukaya. Thank you. My first time with Young Vic was wonderful. Yeah. What a wonderful experience I've had.
Yeah, Young Vic. And hopefully it won't be your last time with Young Vic. Hopefully. No. And your vlog debut as well.
Vlogged my Rukaya Cesar.
Well done. Yeah. Yeah.
Vlog debut. Yeah. Very funny. Very weird. There was me being at the start, literally too much for him. I was like, I'm not good at talk, and I've literally like haven't shut. So
I love that. Everyone's like, no, I don't want to talk to a camera, and then suddenly like, actually, I do. I've got opinions.
Like, let me find my light.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're an actor, so
guilty.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's lovely.
I'll leave Josh's links below. So if you want to follow him on social media,
go on.
Go support him. You're in School of Rock at the moment.
Till
can you say what date you're in there till?
Yes.
You know
appearing in School of Rock. Till the 20th of August.
Oh nice. So you've got a little while left then.
Yeah, a few months. Yeah. So yeah, should be good.
And then a very exciting job coming up after that.
But we're not allowed to say what that is. Our lips are sealed.
I'm an excellent secret keeper. Oh, I was gonna say like that's why my hair's so big.
I haven't even told her. She doesn't even know.
I do.
She does know. I told her.
Anyway, thanks for being on the vlog. Thanks. Bye. I love that we say bye and it's like that's not the proper bye. I'll speak to you when I'm home. Okay, bye. Hello everyone, welcome back to the chatty section of the vlog. Quick disclaimer, we're going through a heat wave in London and I think the UK at the moment. So, and any noise that you hear, I do apologise because I need some windows open. It is unbearable. I have been to see Fun Home at the Young Vic twice recently. I saw it on the first preview and then I saw it a week later. Fun Home was a new musical for me. I'd heard Ring of Keys, but I honestly can't remember where. I knew the song. I kind of knew loosely what the story was about, but none of the kind of nitty-gritty details. And I wanted to keep it that way. I like going into things fresh. I booked the tickets basically a year ago because when it was announced that it was coming to London, Todaytix had a pre-sale, so I bought For the first preview, like the best seats for £25, and then third price seats for the second visit, they were I think £10 each. So for the first preview we were sat in row H, I believe, and we were right in the middle. So it was a perfect view. I'm really glad that I decided to get like the best ones available for the first preview to have like the best view possible. But it's a really nice kind of small venue at the Young Vic. And first of all, I have to say, I'm just blown away by the Young Vic and how they change the space. It's just amazing. So yeah, it was a really perfect, like just far enough away to see everything and a lovely central view. So that was really fantastic. The second visit was obviously the third price seats, and at the Young Vic they've got like the stalls and then a sort of side kind of balcony kind of thing going on. This is the worst description ever, I apologize. And then they have another balcony higher up, which actually I hadn't paid attention to on the first visit, but I noticed it on the second visit. We were in row M, seats 7 and 8 I think, so we were to the side. It wasn't restricted. Obviously it's better if you can be to be more central, but I really don't think this production is affected too badly if you're right on the side sections. Just in case anyone is wondering, I always get questions, so I think you should be fine. Also, a quick note about tickets. Today Tickets are doing a lottery, so you can enter that if you haven't already got tickets. And also the Young Vic do their Lucky Dip tickets, which are £10. You don't know where you're going to be sat or if it's a standing ticket until you pick up your ticket, but at £10 I think anyone can buy those. That's quite a bargain. So I'll give you a quick like very brief description of the plot of the show. The show is based off of a graphic novel by Alison Bechdel, and it's about her and her like discovery of her sexuality, and also the relationship that she had with her father. Basically he had some stuff going on as well, and yeah, as I say, it was based on a graphic novel where I've not read the graphic novel myself, but she, I think, tells the same story as Fun Home. That's why it's based off of it. The heat is going to my head. I think that's a really interesting concept, first of all, to like turn a graphic novel into a musical. I think that's really fun. The cast is really small for this show, actually. The role of Alison is split up into 3 Alisons, which I think is really interesting. So you've got older Alison, who's played by Kasia Hammerland. Just gonna make sure I'm saying her name correctly. Kasia Hammerland, I'm gonna think that's right. And then medium Alison, played by Eleanor Kane. Small Alison, they've got 2 sets of child cast because they've got 3 kids, which are the 3 siblings. So small Alison, Christian and John, and then you've got the 2 parents, Helen, which is played by Jenna Russell, Jenna Russell, and Bruce, who's played by Zubin Vala. The character of Joan is played by Cheryl Skeet, and then Ashley Samuels plays kind of multiple characters. So yeah, a really small cast. On stage you'd only have 9 characters. I just had to double count that just in case. And I think that's perfect. You don't need a big cast for this show, but also with the space as well, it means that they don't get overwhelmed by the space, you know? Where to begin? I'm gonna start with the story actually. I know I've just spoken about the cast and now I'm jumping on to talking about the story, and that's really weird, but it just feels like the natural thing to do. So the story of Fun Home is told in a really fascinating way, and I say it's fascinating because, as I mentioned, there's the 3 versions of Alison through her different ages, and for the majority of the show they kind of like overlap and they go in between each timeline very quickly, very seamlessly, and in my opinion it's not confusing at all. And I think that's really incredible to have a show that does that, because sometimes it can feel like a bit of a clunky dynamic, but I feel like they've nailed it, that transition, and it not being awkward, you not being confused, because you'll have the different Alisons almost kind of like mingling around the stage together, but you know that it's their own concrete timelines. I just thought that was really fascinating. So it's not a straight timeline at all, because you'll go from older Alison or just Alison to then small to medium to small to Alison again. It really does jump around all over the place, but not in a bad way. I just thought that was really fascinating. Even on the first preview, not knowing what was going on, I completely wasn't confused. I just really appreciated that. I wasn't expecting to be quite as emotional as I was watching the show, because I don't relate to the core kind of story, Sorry, this is London. There are sirens. Yeah, I don't relate to the sort of main thread about Alison coming out and being gay, but I don't think you need to. I think if, like me, you don't relate to that, it doesn't matter, because it's not... It is a big focus of the show. I'm not going to say that it's not. I feel like that's rude to say that, but there are so many things to relate to in this show because of the family aspect and issues, and that's what I found myself relating to the most. There's one scene in particular where the parents are fighting and the kids can hear them, and I kind of found that really triggering in a way, because I know a lot of people have divorced parents, myself included. The family drama that I have, oh my god. But that I found really kind of hit me all of a sudden. I did not expect something like that to happen. So I just think it's interesting in a show like this where you might not think that anything is gonna really kind of touch you in that way, and then it does. And you're like, oh my god, theatre. So, let's talk about some of the cast. So Keisha Hammerland played the older version of Alison, that Alison who kind of acts like a narrator in a way. I found that her part isn't as meaty as I was expecting it to be. Towards the end of the show, it definitely gets a lot meatier, but she does kind of act as, is it transient? Is transient the right word? It's one of those words. I liked what she did with what she had, but I don't know, in my head I was expecting it to be a much meatier role. I think the real standout of the Alisons is probably Eleanor Kane as medium Alison, and again I think that's to do with the transition that Alison is going through and the content, the work that she gets to work with. She gets an amazing musical number called Changing My Major to Joan, which it's like one of those Disney numbers where it's not a Disney number at all. When someone meets another person and they're like, oh my god, I'm falling in love with you. It's like that, but actually a more realistic version. And I feel like it's quite true to form in terms of you meet someone and then you're infatuated with them. It was a really lovely number actually. And I find Fun Home interesting in that it's more kind of like a play with music necessarily. Obviously it is a musical. We were having this discussion after the show because the Break-a-Leggers were there. If you watch other theatre vloggers you might know of them, and we were talking about if the show could be a play or not. And I was saying, no, I think you need the musical numbers because the show does get a bit dark at points, and if you didn't have those musical numbers, then it could be very depressing. It already deals with tough subjects as it is. Yeah, I mean, the most prominent musical numbers, in my opinion, I think really do help drag you out of that. There's especially one, oh gosh, what's it called? Interesting that they don't list the songs in the program, that's fine. It's a song where basically the younger Alison has been watching a commercial, singing along, and then the family fighting scene kind of happens. It's not on stage that it happens, but she hears it happening, the parents fighting, and then basically she starts reenacting the commercial music, and it's like da 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 da. It's very kind of cheesy 60s I think kind of music, and then suddenly everyone in the cast is in these very different outfits. It's very surreal, but you need that moment to draw out and have that very accurate moment of a small child using something that they see as positive, almost kind of like a life ring to get them out of that situation. You know, when you just go into your head and you're thinking of something happy, and it's that kind of moment. I think if you didn't have moments like that, yeah, it would get really sad real quick. And as well, if Fun Home didn't have the song Come to the Fun Home, I mean that song is like iconic in my mind now. It's hilarious. The kids in this show are amazing. So I saw in the kids, both times actually, I saw Brooke Haynes as small Alison, Charlie McLellan as Christian, and Ramsay Robertson as John. I saw the same kids both times, and I thought they were hilarious in that number. And yeah, it's that comic relief that you kind of need to get through the rest of the show. It was so great to see Jenna Russell back on stage. It's been quite a while since I've seen her in a show, and I just think she is an amazing actress. It isn't a massive part, but it's still such an important part, and she gets a heartbreaking song towards the end of the show called Days and Days, which has been stuck in my head. I've been having quite a lot of like sad reflective moments as of late. I'm not depressed, it's fine, but it's that song that keeps on coming back into my head when I'm just thinking like, okay, I can get through this, like it's all gonna be alright. So it's a sad song but also kind of helping me. Very weird. Musical theatre, acting as therapy, cool. But yeah, Jenna Russell's just amazing, and I hope that she sticks around in theatre for a bit longer. And then Zubin Vala, I hope I'm saying his name correctly, he plays the father role, Bruce, and is such an interesting character. I think he plays it very well, but it is such an interesting character. I don't know, should I say this? This is a bit of a spoiler, so if you don't know anything about Fun Home, you want to keep it that way, skip ahead a little bit. But Bruce is gay. He doesn't want to openly admit it, basically. Obviously he's married, he's got kids. I think the town that they're living in, it's kind of mentioned that everyone kind of knows, but he doesn't want anyone to know. He doesn't want to be open about it. And so most of the actions that he does are really bad, but at the same time I found myself feeling sorry for him because he just didn't know how to kind of voice what he was feeling and do what would be the right thing for him and kind of everyone else, which would be like admitting it and not sneaking around. So I think it's actually a really hard character to play, and I think that Zubin does it really well. It was really lovely to see Cheryl Skeet in a show again. It's been a while. I think the last thing I saw her in would have been Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, so it's been a while. I believe she was the original Rose Granger Weasley, and I thought she was great in that, and she was great in this as well, so that was really lovely to see her. And then Ashley Samuels in his various roles was brilliant as well, so a really strong cast across the board. Something I really loved about Fun Home, and also about like small venues in general, is how creative they have to and are in terms of their set. Yeah, obviously how they set up the stage. Fun Home for the most part is quite a simple set, and there's a moment, not gonna spoil anything, but there is a moment where your mind will probably be blown, and it's just incredible. But I also really liked that with the set, it did kind of feel like it broke the show up into sort of 3 pieces. For me, I think. No, 4 actually. So you started off the show and it was quite basic. It was a few set pieces replicating like different areas. So for the older Alison, she had her drawing board, and then you had a grand piano and furniture for her childhood home setting, and then a simple bed for the college dorm for the middle Alison. All of this as well was on a revolve, which I love. So that was just really clever and simple. And then at one point a white wall comes down quite close to the front of the set really, so it blocks off, I'd say probably, well, it shows about, I'd say, a 1/5 of the stage at the front. And throughout the course of this period, I found it really interesting. The way they use the lighting is really fascinating. It really kind of hones in on specific characters and moments. And then it gets really interesting in that half of the stage is lit in this really kind of harsh lighting. And it was only on the second visit that I thought about this, but I was like, oh, it kind of emulates, you know, like the boxes that you'd have in a graphic novel to break up the different like sections of the story. I don't know if that was intentional, but I just found that really interesting. And then after that is when the epic moment happens. No spoilers. And then it becomes very simple and bare at the end again, kind of how it starts really. So it kind of comes full circle in that sense. It's such a different piece of storytelling and theatre, something really different that I haven't seen in a while. I am so glad that it's finally here in London. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it transfers somewhere else after this. I think that'd be great for more people to see it. It's not necessarily the big, happy, glitzy musical that some people will want to see. I think it's always good to have that balance of something that's a bit grittier and more human and real. As I'm sure you can tell, I really enjoyed finally seeing Fun Home. I'm really glad it's in London, and especially at the Young Vic, I feel like that's a perfect pairing for it to have come to London in. And I'm really grateful as well that I've already been able to see it twice. I'm not sure if I'll be able to see it again while it's in London. I feel like I want to let more people have the chance to see it as well. I don't want to take up a ticket that someone else can have in such a limited run. It's on until, I want to say the 7th of September, I could be wrong. I'll put the date on screen, and obviously I'll put a link in the description so you can go and buy a ticket if you want to see it, and I think you really should. And if you have already seen it, I would love to know. If you saw it on Broadway or like off Broadway as well, I would really love to know your opinions on the show. And if you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more of me in the future. I make a lot of theatre content, so if you enjoy that, hopefully it's something you'll want to stick around for. I hope you're all doing really well, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!